Howdy, y'all. It's Kathy from Rust Paper Scissors, and I wanted to do a video on what I'm calling a Cricut Mat Hack, and it's for junk journalers and card makers, and it is just giving new life to our Cricut mats once perhaps they have, we can't use them any longer in our Cricut machine. So first of all, I just wanted to show the mats, and there's different stickiness to the mats. This is a light grit mat, and you can clean your mat and get more life out of them. Sometimes, though, the mat will eventually break, like this one broke, and so you really can't use that in your machine. So what I can do is cut this down and use it on my craft table. I can use it in with my Cuttlebug, and that's what I want to demonstrate today. Is the main thing that I want to demonstrate is using your intricate dies, and this is a way that the little bits of paper stick to this mat. It's just going to be amazing. You'll see. It's a lot of fun. But I just wanted to show the mats, and you can clean the mat, like I said, and that will make them sticky again. You can use a product, I believe it's called Aleene's Tack It over and over. For this project, if you use the Aleene's, you need to be careful because it does make the mats very sticky. And when you run it through a Cricut machine, it puts a lot of pressure on that and really sticks the paper to this mat. So you have to be careful. The reason I show that and talk about it, I did have a workaround where I took this was a cutting sheet from the kitchen, and it's just about the same thickness of the craft mat, and it kind of acts as a shim when it goes through the machine, and it kind of helps make your cut a little bit stronger. But I put some Aleene's on this, and it sticks. However, I think I used too much, and stuff really stuck to this. So I'm not going to demonstrate this because I didn't have, a great deal of luck. But I wanted to say, maybe if you put a lighter coat, or if you take some of the stickiness off, if you, put it against your material, and you can just lessen the sticky. And I will try something with this later, but it was not a big a success. But it's something to think about if you want to try that. So these were the mats. I'm going to put these off to the side, and we're going to use some that I've already cut up, and we'll go from there. I'm going to demonstrate how easy it is to cut the mats, but I'm also going to demonstrate ways that you can use them just on your craft table. Let's say you were working on your table and you had a project maybe you wanted to cut, or maybe you wanted to stamp on it, or glue something to it, and you just needed this product to stay still. And I know Tim Holtz has products out there that do this very thing and probably do it better, but I don't have that, so this works for me. It stays stuck on my mat. I can't move it. I could cut on it. Let me get another sheet that I could cut on. Let me cut a piece of, well, we'll just take a tag. Let's say like I had this tag and I needed to cut part of it off. If I stick it down, it's going to stay, and I can cut, with it stay in my, I have a free hand. So I probably didn't cut hard enough through there, but you can see it works. So that's one way you could use it. Or if you just needed to stick it down and glue something or stamp on it, you can do that. You probably could use this in your stamp platform, and then you could take it out with the paper on there. You could put it back in and it would be in the same position. So that's something else you could do. The other thing you can do with the Cricut mat is, this is just a piece of parchment paper. I love to print on this because it already has kind of a mottled look to it. Has a little bit of an antique look. So let's say you needed to cut a thin strip. I'm going to line it up with the grid on the mat. And I'm going to just stick down the edge that I want to tear, that I need to tear. And I'm just going to take a ruler and I'm going to line it up close to the edge, and we're going to see how well, because it's going to hold down that little edge and you're going to be able to tear. And that's not a super thin line, but at least it holds it very easily. And then if you roll this mat back, your paper releases easily. So that's another little tip on releasing the paper from your mat. So that's another way you can use it in the craft room. But what I want to do to really demonstrate today is using it with intricate dies. And I don't know if you've ever used a die, and I know there are other hacks about using dies, like I believe there's a dryer sheet hack. There is a transfer tape. I'm not real sure, but there are other things. But I've never seen this, and I like this for several reasons, and I'll explain it. But the die comes off clean. You don't have to pick it out. Most of the time, I'm not going to say it happens all the time, but most of the time the die comes out clean. And then when you peel this paper up, it's clean. All the little pieces stick to the mat. It's amazing. And I will demonstrate it, and we will go from there. But this is an example of just some cardstock that I cut on. This is an example where I took a tag and I wanted to kind of make more of a grungy tag. So I put some book paper on there, and then I die cut all the little holes, and you could tear it and just make it look more, rustic. So that's an example. The things that I found for me that worked the best were cardstock tags. I had a lot of luck with tracing paper. I even had some luck with fragile book paper, and then just more of a regular standard size book page. And I'll show those. But this is just some more examples of the intricate dies. This is a tag that I cut out, and again, you could tear it and make it look a little bit more distressed. This is just another die, and then I think this is my favorite die. I love this one, the flowers. I use it a lot, and so but for it just to come off and you have no cleanup. Well, there's a little cleanup. You have to clean the mat. But, I mean, you're not picking little pieces of paper out of these dies or out of your paper. So it's amazing. It really is. Let me demonstrate a couple of things. I wanted to demonstrate... Oh, this is what I'm talking about. This is an example of, I took an envelope and I put a piece of the Cricut mat in there and die cut just the top. And I thought that made a beautiful addition to your junk journal. I like to put envelopes in the center of my junk journal because it hides the string and makes a beautiful little tuck spot. So I do that. And then here is, again, the example of the roses. And I was just going to take out this. I added just a piece of book page in there to show you what it looks like. And then I'll show you what this looks like. And then we'll get started with the demonstration. I get a little nervous and sometimes can't make things work. There we go. Let's see, that could be a beautiful addition to your journal. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I wanted to talk again about the mat. The edge is not sticky. There's a grid on there, and it just helps you line things up. So what I'm going to do is I just want to cut this mat the size of my envelope, about the size of my envelope. I might make it a little smaller. But I just wanted to demonstrate how easy it is to cut. And then just save all these pieces and you'll find a use for them. And then I'm just going to cut this edge. I'm going to cut along the grid. And so, you know, these are inch squares, so you know kind of where you're putting your, your piece of paper. So let's take this one and we're gonna demonstrate. I love that rose. Let's do the rose. And so what I did was I want to cut on the top of the envelope. So I'm going to put the mat in sticky side down towards the top, and I might not have cut it. Oh, let's trim it down just a little bit more. I didn't cut it close enough to, there we go, to fit in the envelope. Just so you want the sticky side to face the, what you're going to cut. So sticky side is facing the top of the envelope. This is where I'm going to cut. Now, I forgot to talk about, if you've ever had, I have a Cuddle Bug and it's old. It is old, and I know there's a lot more fancier die cutting machines that work different, and I want to encourage you, if you have a different machine than the Cuddle Bug or what I'm using, test out your sandwich and how hard it is to run through the machine. You never want to really force anything through your machine, and so I just want to caution you on that. But this is one of the old plates that I have, and I know there is a way that you can clean this. There's a way that you can straighten it out. There's YouTube videos about that. I just haven't taken the time to do that. So I had a couple of new plates, and I've been cutting on these for several days now, and there is not a mark on them because the blade does not cut through the mat. So another benefit is your plates stay kind of pristine. So the sandwich that I use that works for me in my machine is I use an A, a B, and then I've got my mat and my envelope, and I'm just going to put it on there, and then I'm going to take my die, and let's see, I usually like to put it this way, and then I'm going to put a C plate on top. So that's going to be, and I'll fix that in just a second. I wanted to bring my machine over. Let's see if I can straighten this up. I hope I'm in frame and you can see, but I'm going to struggle with this machine. I may have to move my camera, but, or let's move the Cuddle Bug. So I just put it in there, and I'm going to only run things through perhaps once. Sometimes I may do twice, but with the shim of the Cricut mat, it really cuts pretty strong, and this is, pretty I'm not forcing it, but it takes a lot of pressure to put it through. Okay, let's see if we can have some magic. Okay, so we have our die cut. It came out totally clean, no pieces of paper. We have our image cut on to this envelope. I don't know if you can see it, but what we're going to do is we're going to kind of peel this up carefully because it is stuck. We're going to peel this envelope up, and I'm going to slip out my Cricut mat. Let's see if I can do that. Yeah. And look, voila! Look at all those pieces on the mat. Your die cut is totally clean. There's not a piece left. Isn't that amazing? I just love it. I get excited every time I do that. Now, I did say there was no cleanup, but there is one bit of cleanup. You have to clean off your mat. And what I do is I take my Cricut spatula and just run it along there and get those little pieces off. I saw a lady that was doing something and she had all these little pieces, and she saved them and I glued them onto other projects, and I was like, oh my goodness, I don't have the patience for that. This is about all the patience I have is cleaning off the mat. So let's just get these little bits and pieces out of our way. So that's one example. And then I wanted to do an example. This is a book page. And this was a typing page from like the 50s or the 60s, probably 70s. And I thought that looked nice. It wouldn't look nice in a journal. So what I want to do is I want to cut on the other side. So let's take, and what I found is, since you're cutting up your mat, you may want to cut the different sizes to fit some of your dies. And why you would do that was you don't have as much sticky area grabbing onto to your fragile or more fragile papers or paper, so it's not as hard to get it apart. So I would encourage you to maybe cut your mat, and see, this part isn't sticky, so that doesn't really matter. But let's try and cut this out. Well, let's cut out a different one. Do we want to try? Let's try this one. Will that one fit? That just about fits on there, but I think we can make it work. So what I do is I put my paper in here. I've got the mat with the sticky side up. Now, you can't really see where the mat is, but you've put it over here along the side. And I'm going to pull it out just a little bit because it doesn't quite cover the mat. The other thing I wanted to say is, during this process and using these mats, they will warp. And eventually, I'm sure they will cut through and break, and I will not be able to use them. But I've used these for several days now and don't really have a problem. But I did want to mention that they may warp a little bit as you're using them. So let's put this one in here. Let's bring in our sandwich, and we're going to try. It's not super fragile, but it's a little bit more fragile paper. And let's see how this does. Let's see if I can get this in here. Okay. Let's see if we can make some magic happen. Okay, it looks like our die cut came out totally clean. It's exciting. It looks like it has cut the paper. Now, since this is a little bit more fragile paper, what I'm going to do is, I talked about earlier about bending the mat to release the paper, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm just bending the mat and kind of holding down the paper, and it just helps release that more fragile type of paper. And if you tear it, well, it's a junk journal. So see, like this part ended up sticking. So I have a little, but you could put a sticker there. So now I have all the little pieces of paper. My die cut is clean. And isn't that amazing? I just get tickled every time I do it. And then you've got this, and we just need to kind of clean that off real quick. And the reason I demonstrated is just to show that it is easy to get some of this stuff off. But if you have a Cricut machine, you know a lot about the mats and how to use them. But let's see. This one's not going quite as easy as the other one. And then we'll just do a couple more examples, and I will let you be on your way. I'll let you get out your Cricut mats and chop them up. Oh, something else you might want to do is when you cut down your mat, there is a dust sheet, that flimsy piece of plastic. Sometimes I cut up overhead projector machines, but I cut them to the size of my mats, and then it helps keep them, clean. So that's another thing you might want to do when you're cutting down your mats. Let's see. Let's take a tag, and let's do maybe this one. Sometimes this one sticks, so we'll have to see. Let's see. This is again an example of using a mat that is close to the size of your project and your die. And this one, it doesn't fit it exactly, but it works. So let's try that. And then I think I'll demonstrate some, the tracing paper. I love the tracing paper. Okay. Now, like I say, sometimes things stick in this die, so let's see if we got it. Oh, looks like we got a clean, oh, nope, one little piece stuck. So, not perfect, but close enough. I can live with that. And then again, we're going to turn it over, and we're just going to release the paper, and the residue comes off. Your tag is clean. You have another tag that looks beautiful. So there you have that. Then we just clean this off real quick. And then I did want to demonstrate the tracing paper, because I was amazed that worked as well as it did. And let's see if I can, I'm probably shooting myself in the foot, bragging that I did tracing paper, but let's see what happens. Let me see if I can get this cleaned up just a bit. Let's see. I'm going to take this. I'm going to take a sheet of tracing. This is just some tracing paper that I tea dyed. I'm going to fold it in half like I was putting it in my junk journal. And let's just do that. And then I'm going to use the lighter grip mat. I'm going to put the side that I want to cut on at the, on the top. And my sticky side is facing that. So your sticky side is facing what you're going to cut on. This, again, is an example where your grid can help you line up perhaps where the middle of the page is, or exactly where you want to cut. And then let's try our rose again. I love the rose. I'm always amazed that it comes off so beautiful. And let's just put that on there. And these are just for quick demonstrations. I'm not trying to get it exact, but you would line it up and get it straight and even. See, this is an example where the mat is warping a little bit, but you just kind of deal with it. Okay. Here we go. Here is our die cut. It is clean. There are no little pieces. Here is our tracing paper. It looks like it's cut. If you can't see it, you see. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to try this release again. And it's coming up, and it looks like it came up perfectly. And then let's put a sheet of paper underneath it and show you how pretty. Look how pretty that cut out. Not one spot left to clean. Okay, so that's really all the examples. I do want to do one more, and I'm going to do, it is one of my favorite things in the world is sticky backed velvet. And I want to demonstrate how well it cuts through this stuff. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel back this release paper, and I'm going to put my tag on there. And I may not take the time just to get it even. I just want to do this quickly. But I'm going to demonstrate. This could be an example of, if you wanted to cut on the mat board, and it'll just hold it down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut along there, and we're going to cut along here. And so it's just an easy, oops, cut off a little bit. And then, let's see, let's move it down. Okay, let's see how well we did. Looks like we did pretty good. Quick and easy way to line your paper. And this side didn't cut off exactly, so let's do it on the diagonal and see if I can cut it again. There we go. Again, I missed a spot, but it comes right off. Oops, let me see if I can get this out of the way. And then let's cut it one more time. There we go. Okay, now, put that off to the side. And then let's take one that we haven't done yet, and let's take this one. And I'm going to put it down. I'm just going to put that over here in the corner, and we'll run it through our machine. This one I'm going to run through a couple of times because it is a thick substance. The sticky back velvet is a little bit thicker than the other things, so let's just make sure it doesn't, I just want to make sure it cuts. And so let's see if we can, it gets a little hard, but it's not cracking or anything, so I'm going to go that way, and then I'm going to come back and reverse it if I can. There we go. There we go. Oh, okay, let's see what we have here. And again, it looks like we have a totally clean die. It looks like it cut through the material. And let's pull it up and see what we have. And oh, look, it didn't quite cut. It didn't pull everything out. So this is our just one out of all these different things that we cut. Didn't, you know, the material didn't come out completely. And it could be because this was a little thicker material. So you just would have to weed that and, you know, pick it out. And then, but look how pretty that is. And I like to show it against a, oh look, several things didn't cut out. So we just have to pick these out. Let's see. And then I should have a little pokey tool, kind of. Little. There we go. Just gives you an idea. There's several different things. So this one I probably needed to run through a couple of times because several things did not cut out. But that's pretty good for what we did. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I've had so much fun doing this, and I would appreciate your comments and your ideas. Maybe a way that you could use your Cricut mat in it, you know, just think of it using a little different way. And I'm going to be excited to see if, you know, we can get more ways to use these. I do appreciate your time. I do have an Etsy store where I sell journals, and I sell rusted elements for your junk journals. It's also called Rust Paper Scissors. And I'm just so thankful for the viewers and followers, the subscribers that I have. If you like the video, I would love it if you would subscribe. It helps me if you hit the like button because it gets shown a little bit more. But this was my Cricut Mat Hack, and just thank you very much.